And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the return of the MFHL Podcast for episode 5. I'm your host, Graeme, the GShow Forsyth. This edition of the MFHL Podcast is brought to you by Terraco, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Be sure to check out their website for the list of their great products of why they're so trusted by Manitoba producers at Terraco.ca. We're brought to you by Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. Be sure to check out their website for more information about what they offer at GordieTummelsonGoalies.ca, as it's basically a one-on-one Zoom video goaltending service, which is pretty darn cool. I know I say that every time, but I feel like I gotta note that when I bring up Goaltenders. And another big one, of course, in Mid Canada Fasteners Tools, an official sponsor of GShow Productions. Be sure to visit their store locations today. In Brandon and Winnipeg, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Visit their website at midcanadafasteners.shop to check out their great products before you potentially go into one of their stores and buy something. And by the way, folks, until the end of this month, use GShow Productions if you do, and when you do, go into Mid Canada Fasteners and Tools stores, and you'll get a free Milwaukee tool mug with any one of your purchases. It can be anything in the store, and you get a free coffee mug, but it has to be in store where you make a purchase to receive that. So be sure to cash in on that till the end of the year. Could be a bonus Christmas gift for someone, a nice coffee mug by Milwaukee. Pretty good tool brand out there. But yeah, the MFHL, it's been a while since we've done this podcast. We took some time off to figure things out as a company in terms of how we're actually going to live stream games, because let me tell you, folks, rinks here in Winnipeg ain't the easiest for that because of the Wi-Fi situation. But I have a special announcement regarding broadcast in terms of live streams coming up later in this episode. We got a show with no guests for this week. Don't worry, we're going to have Rio Pierre and Ginger Fast joining next week's edition of the show, potentially another guest. So stay tuned for episode 6. But in episode 5, it's going to be me going solo to bring you guys the update of where teams are at in the standings, the scores from what happened in the past week in the MFHL/weekend, who the stats leaders are at this point in the season, the goaltending leaders as well, how many goals these teams have put up, how many goals they've allowed, and the upcoming games this weekend in the MFHL. That's coming up throughout this short edition of the official Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League podcast here on GShow Productions, brought to you by Mid Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terraco, and Goaltenders. Myself, Graeme, the GShow Forsyth, will be back just a moment for all the updates around the top AAA Hockey League for U18s in the province of Manitoba. Stick with us, folks. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the MFHL Podcast. Let's get things started officially here on episode 5 in terms of the content. Starting off with taking a look from the results from the past week/weekend in the MFHL. It started off with a fantastic matchup between the Winnipeg Avros and the Winnipeg Ice. The Avros were up 2-0 after the first period. They went up 3-0 heading into the third, but it was Stephanie Jacob putting the Ice on her back in that third period, scoring a hat trick, forcing overtime, and in the shootout, the Ice would end up defeating the Avros by a score of 4-3 in an absolute thriller at the Hockey for All Center. We move into Thursday's action. The Avros with a bounce back against the last place Central Plains Capitals. They were up 2-0 after the first once again. Identical score actually to what they were up against the ice after those two periods, but this time around the Avros do not blow the 3-0 lead, hold on to win 3-0. Central Plains back in action on Saturday as they faced off against the Yellowhead Chiefs. The Chiefs and Capitals, as you can see, they're scoreless after the first 20, but then the Chiefs started finding some offense, 2 goals in that third period to take it, shutting Central Plains out 3-0. Moving into Sunday's action as there was a doubleheader. Interlake getting their second win of the season. I'm pretty sure it's their second win. They were up 1-0 after that first period, as you could see, Pembina Valley tying the score up. The two teams split the score in the third period, and Interlake getting a big W in the shootout. And for the Winnipeg Avros, they took on one of the top teams in the league to finish off the weekend in the Yellowhead Chiefs, beating them 2-0. It was scoreless in the first and the third period, as you could see there, but the Avros with a big second period putting on those 2 goals. So if we take a look at the standings now, we got a new leader, even though they got 2 more games played on the Winnipeg Ice, but the Avros have now hopped up into first place in the standings at 12 wins, 2 losses, and 1 overtime loss. The Winnipeg Ice technically still the best team in the league when you look at win percentage. Only 1 loss so far. It did come in regulation, but 12 wins in 13 games. Pretty darn good for a team that is the defending champs and are looking to go to their 3rd straight finals appearance. I guess it would be the 4th straight finals appearance technically, since them and the Avros ended up making it to the finals in 2019-2020, but it got delayed due to COVID-19. For the Yellowhead Chiefs, they were once first place in the standings, but have cooled off quite a bit from the start of the season. They're still pretty good in terms of their record, 9-5-1, but there's a 5-point gap between them and the Winnipeg Ice for second place, 6-point gap for first place now. And for this Chiefs team, they're still in good position in terms of being in sole possession of third place, as they're 4 points up on the Westman Wildcats and the Eastman Selects. For the Interlake Lightning, they're actually at 4 wins on the season now, 4-7-1, 9 points. What a story from a team that has historically been near the bottom 2 team in the league in the MFHL. Central Plains still struggling this season, even though they have finally gotten a win, 1-13-1 so far in 15 games played. So yeah, I actually had a chance to go out and watch the Winnipeg Avros and Winnipeg Ice play last Wednesday, and let me tell you folks, that could be a preview of the finals this season in the MFHL. It's just the way that the Avros play systematically and how they're hard on their forecheck, generating chances, and you just see the championship mentality of a Winnipeg Ice team that doesn't quit. They end up getting good goaltending throughout the stretch of that game, as Laura Melissa ended up coming in for relief of the starting goalie for the Winnipeg Ice. And yeah, I mean, she was steady. She's been a rock and net so far this season for this Winnipeg Ice team. But when you look at that decor that the Winnipeg Ice had, they settled down in that third period and relied on their best player to get the job done, and Stephanie Jacob. She was going to the right spots. Her teammates were setting her up. And yeah, I mean, this game took a shootout to win. These are the 2 best teams in the MFHL right now, and they could be on a collision course come playoff time to meet each other in the finals. We'll take a look at some more stats in just a moment here. You could say, arguably, and I mean, you wouldn't be wrong on this, that the Winnipeg Avros have more depth at their disposal so far this season. But Winnipeg, the Ice, they have the best player in the league. It's Stephanie Jacob leading the way for them. A lot of season left. Other players have started to score more outside of her, and this team just defends so well and has a rock in the back of their net in Laura Melissa. But speaking of the stats that I just mentioned in the MFHL, we're going to talk about next year is the offensive stats so far this season. The Winnipeg Avros are averaging just over 4 goals per game so far this year, which is on a clip that no other team is currently on the ice, and Chiefs both averaging over 3 goals per game. But the Avros have done it better than anyone else. They've had some blowout wins out in there that might have boosted these, but hey, all these teams play each other. And the Avros have been taking advantage the most out of any other team. 62 goals in 15 games, ridiculous. As you can see there, I'll try to do some math. 13 more than the Yellowhead Chiefs, who have the second most in the league. And then you look defensively. Talked about the Winnipeg Ice as being the best defensive team in the league. Well, there you have it. 17 goals against so far in 13 games played. Absolutely ridiculous. The Avros pretty darn good too at 26 goals against in 15 games played, but no one's been better than the Ice at defending this season. This team's also limited their oppositions in shots better than anyone, as you can see there. 265 saves, and then the goals against combined. That's the shot total that they've faced. So under 300 shots faced so far this season. So impressive from this Winnipeg Ice team. I mean, you take a look at the Interlake Lightning, too, a team that has gotten fantastic goaltending this season, carried by Rachel Halderson, of course, a Team Manitoba goaltender this year, and their most valuable player last season. And if we take a look at the offense once again, if Interlake can continue to improve their offense, put up some more goals. They definitely have since the season started. We know that they're not going to bring out the most offense out there. They don't have the most talent that, other teams do have, but they have something that not, as many teams have in the MFHL. Sure, some top teams have it, but I don't even know if the top teams have it as talented as a goaltender as Rachel Halderson is. So for Interlake, I mean, if she can continue to keep them in close games when she's in the pipes, and this team can find ways to put up, just a bit of offense, and they're able to lean on her. This Interlake Lightning team is going to be a fun team to continue to watch how they can progress this season for sure. We are going to throw it to one more transition here. We might throw it to a few more as this episode goes along, but when I get back, I'm going to be talking about the league leaders in the MFHL in terms of individuals leading the league in points, the goals, the assists, the goaltending leaders in terms of the wins. I'll show you all of that coming up next year on the MFHL podcast, brought to you by Terraco, Mid Canada Fasteners and Tools and Goaltenders. I'll be back, Graeme, the GShow Forsyth, for more after this transition, everybody. Welcome back to this edition of the MFHL Podcast for Episode 5. No guests joining this edition of the podcast, which, hey, it's going to be fun to have Rio Pierre on the show next week, as well as Ginger Fast of the Eastman Selects. Rio Pierre, a rookie for the Winnipeg Avros. And yeah, I might have some other guests on next week's show. Stay tuned on our social media pages, as we'll have the information there, the links to that, or not the links, the handles in the description of this episode. But yeah, welcome back, everybody. We're now going to go into talking about the point leaders in the MFHL. And from last time we've talked about this here on the show a few weeks ago, it hasn't changed in terms of who's on top, as we'll take a look at it. It's Stephanie Jacob with 25 points in 12 games played, best points per game average in the MFHL out of anyone so far. But guess who's caught up to her? It's Celine Wozni of the Winnipeg Avros. She's been phenomenal this year, especially with the assists she's put up. But her teammate, rookie Rio Pierre, she's been outstanding this year, and I guess that's going to be in next week's episode. Can't wait to talk about her talk with her, as I should say, as she's been just phenomenal for this Avros team this season. 23 points. She can put the puck in the net. she can dish the puck out, as you can see there, in 15 games for 23 points. To see that be put up by a rookie is pretty crazy to see. But this leaderboard here being dominated by the Ice and the Avros. Hannah Ray tied with Mackenzie Lozada, as you can see there, for points for 5th with 19. We take a look at the goal leaders now. It's Stephanie Jacob still leading by a pretty wide margin, 18 goals to the second best, which is Paige Crossley of the Westman Wildcats at 10 goals. Dara Thompson tied with Paige Crossley, and then Kirby Gray and Rio Pierre tied with each other for 4th in goals in the league. Taking a look at the assist leaders now in the MFHL, Celine Wozni and Chloe Nicholas neck and neck right now in this statistic. Chloe Nicholas with 2 games in hand on Celine Wozni, so having the advantage in the assists per game average category. But looking at that again, Rio Pierre's name popping up. Hannah Ray was at the top of this list last time we did this, I feel like, but now she has dropped down to 4th, and Mackenzie Lizotte rounding out the list there at 11. We'll take a look at some goaltenders now. So you can see here, as the goaltender's logo, scrolling the text and the logo being there below on the screen. But looking at the goaltenders, talked about her, Laura Melissa, 7 wins, only 1 loss so far this season, a .953 save percentage. She's been the best goaltender by the numbers so far this year in terms of the wins, the save percentage. Looking at the shutouts too, she's had 3. So by the numbers, Laura Melissa, best goaltender in the league so far this year. Natalie Rampton also with 7 wins, but she's dropped off a bit in terms of the stronger start to the season that she had. She has 2 shutouts. Adriana Almeida for the Winnipeg Avros with 2 shutouts as well. Her teammate Madeline Sylvester with the shutout in there. Both of those goalies for the Avros, by the way, impressive. .944 save percentage for Almeida and a .930 save percentage for Sylvester. Rounding out the list there, as you can see at the bottom, is Addison Tomes of the Eastman Selects. Take a look at what's next. So that's a sneak peek of what's next, what's coming up in the MFHL. But I've brought her up so much already throughout this part of this podcast. But Rio Pierre, even going and watching her against the top team in the league. Now the Avros are the top team, but in that matchup, the top team in the league, the first place team heading into that one in the Winnipeg Ice, Rio Pierre just looks so calm, so confident with the puck. If I didn't know she was a rookie heading in, I wouldn't have thought she was a rookie. She looks so comfortable out there at a young age in the MFHL. She's got an excellent release. She's got good vision, sees the ice well, and the Avros have a player that they could look to grow with as her time goes along in the MFHL. She's won, I think, 2 Player of the Week awards already. So I'd say that the rookie, Rio Pierre, for the Winnipeg Avros is the early favorite, at the very least, to win Rookie of the Year this year. Not only that, being top 3 in points. Impressive stuff from the kid, that's for sure. But lots of stuff coming up in the MFHL in terms of games this weekend, but it's only going to be 1 game on 1 day each as we go along here. I'll show you what I mean, and we'll start off with Friday. So in 2 days from now, the Winnipeg Ice at home to take on the Eastman Selects at the Scotiabank Hockey for All Center at 7:15 p.m. That one, the Ice looking for their 13th win of the season. The Selects looking to gain an advantage over the Westman Wildcats with a win to break 2 points away from them from that tie. Taking a look at what we got Saturday, another singular game as the Ice will be at home again to take on the Pembina Valley Hawks at 4:30 at the Hockey for All Center. Winnipeg looking to go undefeated on the weekend, 2-0, while Pembina Valley looking to start improving what's been a season with some successes, but a lot of struggles so far for them. So that should be interesting. Both of these teams rivals, as Eugene Kaminsky has pointed out to me, so should be a spirited one. Into Sunday's matchup, the Eastman Selects playing in their second game of the weekend, having a day off, and then back at it to take on Pembina Valley, who will be on a back-to-back. 3 p.m. This one is in Landmark, not Niverville, this go-around for this week to end things off for, I believe it's week 11 in the MFHL now. But, if we take a look at the standings once again to see how things could potentially change, Pembina Valley is looking to climb over the Interlake Lightning, who don't have a game this week. I think that Pembina Valley heading into this season, envision themselves being middle of the pack team. That's kind of what they've been for the past few seasons. But obviously, Interlake has been a team that's played spirited, a team that's played hard, and a team that's gotten fantastic goaltending so far this year. Getting some key goals in games too. So that's a team already talked about that's been impressing. They get the week off, of course. For the Eastman Selects, they'll have 2 chances to break into 4th place, jumping over the Westman Wildcats with 2 matchups. That could be pretty likely for them as well. As, I feel like they got a pretty good chance to go out and take a W against the Pembina Valley Hawks. And for the Winnipeg Ice, here's their chance to go out and jump over the Winnipeg Avers, take back first place from them in the standings, and still have a game in hand on them, and even maybe go up 3 points on them, where they'd have the same amount of games played. Speaking of why the Winnipeg Avers can't play this week, or aren't playing in the MFHL this week in terms of game action, that is, it's because they're actually in a showcase down in Regina. They got on the bus today. That's why actually Rio Pierre couldn't connect on the show. We just couldn't make it work in terms of the timing. But they're off to a showcase, a team that will be looking to take some good lessons from this showcase, no matter what the results are, to use it to build on what has been a pretty successful season so far for the Winnipeg Avers. I guess I want to talk about the Yellowhead Chiefs as well. As the Yellowhead Chiefs, this is a team that, of course, started the season really strong. Were the first place team in the league, and then they started to drop a bit. I hope that Hannah Ray didn't curse her team on the MFHL podcast, by the way, when she was on here in her appearance, because she said that their offense was unstoppable when they're on. This offense has been unstoppable at times since Hannah Ray has made those comments. If we take a look at it, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll take a look at the last 6-7 games for this Chiefs team. They lost 9-6 to the Avros back on November 18th. Lost 6-3 to the Winnipeg Ice on November 19th. 4-3 win against the Wildcats on the 24th of November. Then lost 3-2 to the to the Eastman Selects on November 25th. They ended up shutting out the Central Plains Capitals 3-0 on December 2nd, so last Saturday, and ended up being shut out against the Winnipeg Avers last week as well in that game, of course, as we already talked about. But yeah, for this Yellowhead Chiefs team, if we take a look at the results so far in terms of the goals they put up. Like 49 goals, they got good depth on this team. Players like Ray and Thompson leading the way. If we take a look at goals against, this is where this team has kind of been, faltering as this season has gone along. Now, Natalie Rampton's been solid, but her numbers haven't been as strong as things have gone along. They're 5th in terms of the rank. Their Interlake has been able to stop more than they have, for example, as well as the Eastman Selects, both teams outside of the top 3. So you take a look at this Yellowhead Chiefs team so far this season. They've been able to go out and play with the top teams, but they haven't had as much success as the top teams so far as they would have liked, for of course themselves being considered a top team in the league too, and they should be, because this is a team that has good depth, good star power up front, a lot of returning players, and a team that's been together for a long time, where this could potentially be the year that this team could make a run. I do got to be honest though, ladies and gentlemen, that was a weird pronunciation. I do think that right now you got to have a Winnipeg Ice and Winnipeg Avros over this Yellowhead Chiefs team, because, they've proven throughout this course of the season so far, even though it's still early, there's a lot of hockey left, but they've shown more consistency in their game. Taking a look at the standings one more time, they're both 12-win teams, and they've grown separation from them and the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, this is a team that, is just not has been consistent as putting up wins as these two teams, and not being able to go out and beat these two teams, as the season's gone along. But we're going to throw it to one more transition in this edition of the MFHL podcast. I'll be back on episode 5 here for some fantastic, exciting news, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the official podcast of the top female U18 hockey league in Manitoba, brought to you by Mid Canada Fasteners Tools, Terraco, and Goaltenders. And welcome back to episode 5 of the official Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League podcast, brought to you by Mid Canada Fasteners Tools, Terraco, and Goaltenders. An exciting weekend of MFHL hockey coming up. There's no double headers or anything like that. There's a game a day from Friday to Sunday, but for people in the Winnipeg area, be sure to head on down to the Hockey for All Center if you can, to check out the Winnipeg Ice playing, on Friday and Saturday, as well as, be sure to, we'll show it to you guys again, just so you know where these games are going to be played. So, Hockey for All Center on Friday night, Ice and Selects. Hockey for All Center on Saturday afternoon, late Saturday afternoon, Ice and Hawks at 4:30. And, of course, for you guys in the Landmark area, Eastman, you're going to be playing there against Pembina Valley at 3 p.m. on Sunday. But speaking of the Selects and the Winnipeg Ice, GShow Productions is happy to announce that we believe we've figured out that we can broadcast from the Hockey for All Center and from Niverville, the Niverville Recreational Center. Excited to broadcast from there if we are able to. We believe that those two arenas offer the best Wi-Fi in the league, really, to stream games. They're optimal to stream games from there, and we'll be releasing a schedule here coming out shortly. We're hoping to have an official announcement for you guys next week that we do have this ready to roll. But I just want to take the time to apologize to all of you out there that have been waiting for us to live stream games heading into this. Gotta be honest, folks, I was pretty darn stupid and thought that a router could work without a modem. It can't, and then you learn that this city, I don't know as much about outside of Winnipeg, because I haven't tested in many arenas in terms of the Wi-Fi there, but the arenas in Winnipeg, there's a select few that have good streaming capabilities with the Wi-Fi, and a lot of them are duds, but the Hockey for All Center is one of those that is good. So yeah, we've been threatened and told that we can't broadcast games because someone else has exclusivity, which is baloney. We've partnered with the league, and not even we have exclusivity to cover all of these games. So yeah, I mean, we're excited. We're going to be broadcasting games from the Hockey for All Center, and most likely from Niverville. We'll have an announcement to confirm it coming out on our social media page next week. We'll have the official announcement and show you guys the official schedule that I'm excited to show you guys because I've already designed it. I think it looks pretty slick. You guys will be able to see all the games that will be broadcasting, and we're thinking we'll do the first one for free when we do it to give you guys a sample. That's what we're doing tomorrow for the MMJHL. So we'll be broadcasting our first game of the season live from St. Vital, as that's where we'll be doing all the games because their Wi-Fi is optimal. A lot of the rinks in the league there that the teams play at, the Wi-Fi is duds, right? I mean, the city of Winnipeg just only cares about having Wi-Fi there. They don't care about upgrading it and all that stuff. I don't know if, it's some of these rinks are private and they don't care about upgrading it. But happy that St. Vital has great Wi-Fi there at their arena, at the St. Vital Centennial Arena in Winnipeg. But yeah, announcement's going to be coming out next week, but safe to say that it is looking like right now that GShow Productions' home for the broadcasting season of 2023 and 2024 for our hockey games for the MFHL. Be at the Hockey for All Center in Niverville. Full details coming out next week. We're going to throw it to one more transition here. And yeah, I'll be back for some final words on this edition of the MFHL podcast, everybody. Stay tuned. Well, you made it to the end of this edition of the MFHL podcast. I want to give a special thanks, a special shout out to our sponsors in Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service, as well as Terraco, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years, and to Mid Canada Fasteners Tools. Your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs, for sponsoring this edition of the show. Remember, you can go into one of these store locations for Mid Canada Fasteners Tools in Brandon and Winnipeg until the end of this month in December, and with any purchase you make when you use the promo code GShow Productions, you'll receive a free Milwaukee tool mug. Until the end of this month, limit one per customer only while quantities last. Be sure to get in there. Could be a nice Christmas gift that you don't even have to pay for. For someone, of course, you'd have to pay for something in the store in there before to buy it, but I think it would be worth it for sure. Could put a smile on someone's face. Who knows? We might even give some away on this show to a lucky viewer. So, yeah, I want to give a special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning in to tonight's episode. Next Wednesday is going to be great. The future of the coverage of the MFHL podcast and just everything we do here for the MFHL is going to be fantastic. I hope you guys stick around, guys, girls, whoever may be watching. And yeah, we are going to be live streaming games very soon. Stay tuned for next week. We'll have another big announcement to confirm it, most likely. Fingers crossed that we can, folks. But yeah, be sure to check out the great MFHL action that is coming your way. Of course, tomorrow we got a game here Saturday too in Winnipeg, and then Landmark on Sunday. Everybody, if you're in the area, be sure to go, pay some money, sure to check it out. It will be a fun experience for sure. But yeah, we'll have the guest list for next episode next week. Rio Pierre and Ginger Fast will be on next week's episode. It's going to be fantastic to have them on. Stay tuned on our social media to see who will be on that episode, though. And also, of course, be sure to check out our website at gshow.ca for the full details, too. But I've been your host, Graeme, the GShow Forsyth. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. Enjoy holiday shopping if you're on that train. Maybe you're just chilling at home and going ham online shopping as well, making it more convenient for yourself. But whatever you may be doing, whether you're watching sports, just chillaxing, going out to watch an MFHL games, you take it easy. we'll see you next Wednesday night, everybody, for MFHL Podcast episode number 6. But until then, I've been your host, Graeme, the GShow Forsyth, giving you the salute, peacing out, and saying so long, good night on this Wednesday night. Take care, everybody.